Hello friends, welcome back to the channel Software Testing by MK Gupta. I hope you all are doing great, and yes, today I'm here with my another session on another interesting topic. And yeah, today's topic is client server architecture. So guys, we will gonna discuss about these two terminologies and how these two terminologies, client and server, are connected to each other, and what architecture it's shared it shares. So let's get started. Client server architecture. So what is a client server architecture? Basically, it is a computer networking model in which the server manages, delivers, and also hosts most of the resources and services which is to be used or which is to be consumed by the client computers or client systems. And there is a central server computer to which one or more client computers are connected over a network or internet connection. Basically, it means that in client server architecture there is a central server. Basically, it is a computer. The server is a central computer on the internet or on the network, where like all other different computer, that is the client computers, are connected to this particular central server computer over the internet, and are like all the services and all the resources which are consumed by the client from the server computer. So before diving into the types of the client server architecture, firstly let's see like how the browser, particular website or browser, interacts with the network or internet, like how we access a particular website over the network or internet server. So firstly, a particular user, we enter the URL of the website. URL means the uniform resource locator. Then the browser then requests the DNS, that is domain name system server. Yeah guys, if uh, if you all know about DNS server, then it is a very good thing. But yes, if you don't know about the DNS server, please let me know in the comment section so that I can make another video on DNS server. So let's continue. Yeah, then DNS server will look for the address of the web server. Like DNS server will look over the network or internet connection for that particular IP address of the website. DNS server then respond with the particular IP address of the web server or website. Then browser sends over an HTTP or HTTPS request to web server's IP. This IP is a particular IP which is provided by the DNS server. Then server responses over the necessary information of the website, and browser then renders this information and files over the website, over the browser, and then displayed it on the web browser. This rendering is done with the help of a DOM interpreter, CSS interpreted in JavaScript engine, which is collectively known as a just-in-time model. So yeah guys, this is how a particular browser interacts with the internet or network connection. Now we will see like what types of client server architecture we are having. So generally there are three types of client server architecture, that is one tier architecture, two tier architecture, and three tier architecture. So let's discuss about one tier architecture. So in this category, there is a user presentation layer, business marketing logic layer, and the data logic layer are present in the same system. There are no other systems which is connected to the central server system. There is only one system where all these three layers are present, and a user can work on that particular system. So this kind of service is reasonable, but it is hard to manage due to the large data variance and that allots the replication of work. One tier architecture consists of a layer, for example, presentation, business, and data access layers within a single software package, and the data is stored on the local system, or the data can be stored on the network path drive or the shared drive, where the storage is big. And application which handle all three tiers, such as, like for example, MP3 player, MS Office. So these are the applications which comes under the one tier architecture. Now we will see what is a two-tier architecture. So in this type of a client server model, the user interface is stored at the client machine and the data logic is stored on the server. So the database logic and the business logic are filled at either on the client or the server side, but it is mandatory to stored and maintained. If the business logic and data logic are collected at the client side, then it is known, or it is called as a fat client and thin server architecture. Also, it is a vice versa. That is, if a business logic and data logic are handled on the server side, then it is called as a thin client and fat server architecture. This is considered as affordable. Now, what is a 3-tier architecture? So in this type of a client server architecture, an extra middle layer is used. That means client request goes to the server through that particular middle layer, and the response from the server is received by the middle layer first and then goes to the client. This architecture protects two-tier architecture and gives the best performance. This system is little bit costly, but it is simple to use and manage. The middle layer stores all the business logic and the data passage logic. The idea of middle layer is to database staging, queuing, application execution, scheduling, and etc. So a middle layer is a flexible and also gives the best performance in between the client and server. So that is why most of the web applications are using the 3-tier architecture. The 3-tier architecture is split into 3 parts, namely the presentation layer, that is client tier, application layer, that is business tier, and the database layer, that is data tier. The client system manages presentation layer, the application server takes care of the application layer, and the server system controls the database layer. So this is all about the 3-tier architecture, that is 3-tier client server architecture. So yeah guys, that's it for today's session, and if you guys enjoy this video, please like this video and share with your friends. Also, it's a kind request to subscribe to my channel, because guys, it gives me motivation to make more interesting videos on software testing, and in upcoming future we will see more interesting topics of software testing in our channel. So yeah guys, thanks for watching. Thank you.